Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, part two of the new albums that we're going to be talking about today. And today we're going to be talking about none other than the legends of death metal, Cannibal Corpse, with their new album, Violence Unimagined, which was released today under Metal Blade Records. Now, if you don't know who Cannibal Corpse are, you need to get out. One of the best bands, if and the greatest in death metal, period. And these guys have been around since 1988 in Buffalo, New York, but they've also later relocated to Tampa, Florida. And these guys, this is crazy. Like they've gone through. There's definitely are a death metal band, but this is the band's overall 15th full length album, and it's crazy that 15 albums in that these guys are just still heavy. And this follows up their previous album, which came out in 2017, Red Before Black, which I thought was really great. But this album, is fucking great. Great. Let's just dive right into it. Production wise, is fantastic, and produced by, of course, Eric Rutan of Hate Returnal, and he's also their new guitarist after pretty much Cannibal Corpse having the same lineup since Kill. So for almost a little over 15, 16 years, they've had the different lineup changes after Pat O'Brien, because Scott had some of the legal shit that happened with him. And then, of course, Eric Rutan kind of filled in for him, but it wasn't until when they announced this album that he became an official member of the band after he was touring with them since 2019, which I honestly did kind of see it coming, but I think it's pretty cool that they know him and he produced some of their albums since Kill, and now he's a member of the band, which is awesome. Let's just go to the vocals, like George Corpse Grinder Fisher. I feel like his vocals and just his growls and just his screams are just fucking amazing as always. Like every album, like it's hard to believe like he hasn't lost touch with his voice at all, and it's just really just showcases well with this album. And then the guitar work from Rob Barrett and Eric Rutan, him being that Eric Rutan's first album with them as like an official member. And yeah, I just think Eric just adds a lot to Cannibal's guitar playing. Same thing with Rob's. Like you could definitely hear it in the songs. Like it's just great. Bass wise, Alex Webster, in my opinion, is like tied with one of my all-time favorite bassists, between Alex Webster and of course Steve Harris of Iron Maiden, which a lot of people do say that Alex Webster is the Steve Harris of death metal, and I definitely agree. He definitely has his bass really well up in the mix. You can definitely hear it just goes well. I think the bass just really adds a lot. It just adds a lot of melody and rhythm, because like Alex kind of like locks in with the melody that do try to link up with what the melody does with Robin and Eric on guitar, and then with what Paul Mazurkiewicz is doing on the drums, which I think is pretty interesting. And drumming wise, Paul Mazurkiewicz hasn't lost a beat since, and it really just showcases well. So yeah, let's just dive into this album track by track. The track and starting things off is Murderous Rampage, which is a great way to kick off this album. And this band is just like fine wine. It just gets better and better with time. And the fact that this song has like 4 guitar solos in there, it just really just shows you the nature of this, pretty much the greatness of the songwriting. And Eric just kind of like steps in and it gets right to work. Great way to kick off this album. They move on to Necrogenic Resurrection, and the guitar tone and the riffs on this song just sound really beefy, and they're just next to like the great main riffs, and it's just some really great drum fills, and there's a nasty like break in the middle section, and then some really great cymbal use around 2.5 minutes, and a great song. Then we move on to Inhumane Harvest, which I believe was the first song released from this album, and this song pretty much shows everything that I love about Cannibal Corpse. Crunchy riffs, deep growls, and just some really technical drumming thing that goes along with it. And the band tries to make each song that they write the heaviest and the most memorable songs they can come up with. And the band wants the listeners to be able to listen to this song and just pretty much know what this is. And this pretty much is true, because out of all the Cannibal Corpse songs I know, I can name this song just by like the opening riff. Moving on to Condemnation, Conjation, and just Corpse Grinder just surprises the listener with his growls without warning. It just breaks through the structure of the first 3 songs for the first time, and Paul just shows like what he could do on the drums. And this song just sounds like a breath of fresh air, and I just almost kind of reminds me of something from like Gallery of Suicide. Great song. Next up is Surround, Kill, Devour. And the intro kind of reminds you a little bit of Sentence to Burn from Gallery of Suicide. Right, and this song has a really catchy chorus and almost kind of like a little bit of thrashy vibes, kind of like Slayer. And it's very varied. Blech. Try saying that 2 times fast, or 3 times. But this song has some really great passages for some really great headbanging. Moving on to Ritual Annihilation, which this song is just an all high speed song. It just gets you going, and then some really great riffs enter, and just a really great guitar solo in there as well. Next up is Follow the Blood, and this song has a really good chorus, and not only that's, I don't know, it's just fucking great. And then we move on to Bound and Buried, which has another kind of like thrashy kind of stylish song, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Metallica, a little bit, and it's just a pretty catchy as well. Slowly Sawn, can't even speak today, guys. His is pretty much another one of my favorite songs from this album. I mean, I really love sort of like there's the mid-tempo passages and the drum beats, or the guitars are pretty much placed on one side of the speakers, and it slowly demonstrates sort of like a rusty chainsaw that just slices right in. Over Torture. Now, I feel like this song pretty much switches the point and pulls everything and everyone into like the abyss of the journey through hell. Oh, and there's like fans of like songs like the Time to Kill is Now. It just gets your money's worth in like 2.5 minutes, and it's just pretty much the band just goes all out, and just some really great riffs, which goes with like an echo effect with the vocals from Corpse Grinder, and some casual passages where you can actually hear the bass playing from Alex Webster, which is a great ride. And then we finally get to the last song in the album, being Sermons of the Flayed, and I feel like that all forces are used well and just put into like the great finale on this great album. Now overall, in Violence Unimagined by Cannibal Corpse, a great album, and even 15 albums into their career, they've just gotten so heavy. And I think this is probably the heaviest Cannibal Corpse album they've to date. I mean, all their albums are heavy, but I feel like this one is just up there. So I have to give this album a score. I'm going to give Violence Unimagined by Cannibal Corpse a solid 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.